guys, welcome to another one of our kind of Wartales update. Hasn't been too terribly long since our last one, due to our last one just being a patch, and this one is Wartales officially coming out now. So, as you can see here with this one, I have the actual thing pulled up as we're just going to go through it. Just kind of do a rundown of stuff, kind of give my takes on some of the stuff and how it's going to affect the game, and then go from there. So obviously there is the trailer here. I'm not going to play it right now, but you will be able to find the link for this in the description below, as well as you'll be able to find this if you want to, just kind of look at it a little bit more on your own, because I might go through it a little bit fast, so you guys are more than welcome, obviously, to click that. But there's a whole new region coming up, which is something that the last patch kind of covered a little bit. In the sense of they already added some weapons and some soldiers and stuff like that. So that's just something like this. It's a new region, the Lamb of Droneback. It's to the south of Alizar. So I believe this is going to be from initial start. It's going to be to the is it the southwest, I believe? So it's going to be technically 2 areas away still. So you're going to have to finish the starting area and then run through the next area, and then you're able to get here. It looks like it's going to be another plague thing, is what the campaign or storyline is going to be. The Wrath of the Eye has fallen, annihilating everything in its path. The Inquisition is trying to find out what's going on with Divine Wrath, so I'm pretty sure that just kind of specifies, that it's going to be a kind of plague that you have to deal with, kind of similar to Virtruth, maybe. Maybe not towards it affecting plants. Maybe it's more towards wildlife, and the humans populace is probably what it's a little bit more towards. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. I think this is also really interesting. The voiceover, they've got it completely voiced over. So what that I'm just kind of speculating on what that means. I think it's going to be that when you go to shops and talk to people and stuff like that, they've all got there's not a lot of situational dialogue. Everything is just kind of pre-implemented. So I'm guessing that means that everything's going to have, a voice. So if you go talk to a tavern or the blacksmith or merchant, they're always going to have the same dialogue. So maybe they now have audio with it, which, as I say with pretty much everything that happens, it's not needed in the game, but it just helps so much. It just makes it more immersive and gives you a better feel and atmosphere of the game. So that's really, really nice. New confessions have been added to the pool. I haven't even the slightest idea what this means. I don't even know. It could be traits or stuff for the past, or I don't even know. Maybe I've never gotten to this part before where there's confessions, but I don't know. You can now bury your fallen companions, which is both interesting and not at the same time. It's interesting that you can do it, but then it's weird at the same time, because in order to see it for the first time, you have to have somebody die, and I'm the type of person where I definitely don't want anybody to die in my group, so I try to avoid that as heavily as I can. So it's a cool thing, but my goal is to try not to ever use this. And then just a bunch of achievements, which is something that I know there are a lot of people that are achievement hunters. Anytime I open up the game or think about playing the game, I kind of look to see what my achievements are. There's a lot of them that I haven't gotten that shouldn't be too difficult to get. They're just kind of time consuming. The one is hit day 100 or something like that in a playthrough, which I don't think is too difficult to get, but it is a little time consuming. So the units in combat, so there's a new arena, because there's a new area, new elite, which also goes with that. Explore a new tome of the ancients and defeat a special enemy. I don't know exactly what that is, what the special enemy would be. Snow wolves and bears are joining alongside snow crawlers is going to be something that's really, really, really cool. If I'm guessing that these are going to kind of be the weapons and the customization and stuff like that of the Alizar soldiers. So if that's what it is, I already like the weapons. The armor looks nice too, so I mean that should be fine. And then I'm guessing that this is what the snow crawlers are. So it looks like the creepers, but with a Yeti, I guess, mixed with it. Which, if that is the case, I might have to actually get some of them when I play, because I feel like adding more different animals. So you have your wolves, your bears, your snow wolves, your snow bears. You can get the creepers, you can get rats, you can get those swine mosquitoes or whatever they're called, or croc spines or whatever they're called. You can get boars. You can have horses. So there's a lot of different stuff you can have now. So that might be something I might try to mess with a little bit, is having like a quote unquote animal army. But not the creepers. I hate those things. The unit level cap has been increased to 12, as well as the enemies to 14. So now there's like another talent basically you can get. The level 12 skills are known as braveries. Only one use per character and per round. If you don't want to take this talent point, you can choose another talent that you've not chosen, creating new possibilities of building. That part I'm a little bit unsure of, so I'm guessing that when you hit level 12, there's like some sort of like specialization that you can get. That would be something that I have to look at in the game as well. If you understand what it means a little bit, let me know below, just because I'm kind of confused on it. I don't really understand it too much, so that's going to be interesting to see. Don't worry about your animals, because they also get new talents. So again, kind of going with what I just said about getting more animals, I think that this update's a little bit focused on that. So I feel like it's going to be okay with if you kind of want to like do like more of a zoo build, I'm gonna call it, the zoo meta. You can gain charcoal from campfire when resting by burning wood, which I think is huge. Like I always have a huge amount of wood, but I don't ever really have that much charcoal. I think that the only way is you had to find it like random drops, or you would have to just kind of like buy it, I think, from blacksmiths or random merchants. So that's going to be pretty nice. And then this one is huge. Hemp has been added as a brand new component. You can craft ropes. So that is just, rope was one thing that like early game I always struggled with really, really, really heavily. So that's going to be really, really nice. And then just kind of shows the camp a little bit in that stuff. I don't think too much stuff is changing with like what you can build and that stuff in here. It's just kind of like new components, maybe some new animals. The arenas. So you're getting a new makeover. So there's going to be new requirements, new bonuses, and rebalancing. So I'm guessing that what the requirements and the bonuses are going to be is like when you go into an arena and you do a battle and it's like get land crits on 2 different people, maybe those are going to be different. And then when you get bonuses, it might be either it's going to be bonuses in the battle or after the battle. And by that I mean in the battle, like instead of you getting valor points, like maybe this person will get they'll get to move twice in a turn, or that one's kind of powerful, but maybe somebody will gain a little bit of movement speed. And then afterwards, instead of, all your people gain 25% agility, maybe it's, they gain 25 more armor each, or, something like that. So I don't know which of those 2 it's going to be, but I think it's going to be one of them. In addition to the new arena in Drawback, the new area overall, there's brand new area or arenas in Arthas and Ludern. So I don't think I've explored either. Arthas I've explored a little bit, but Ludern I've not explored like almost at all. So I'm guessing neither of them had them, but now they do. Discover the last 3 specializations for your spearmen, archers, and swordsmen. So I think that just like talks about skill builds. I don't know exactly what that entails. It's kind of vague, but it's just something that we have to explore on our own. Difficult mode. If you want to challenge your team, you can try new difficult modes in arenas, but beware, disappoint the crowd and you won't last long. So I think that what this means is that it's going to, you have those bonuses that you can do every round to like build up valor points. I think that it's going to stay that, but I feel like if you don't do them, like you might just get like booed out, right? Or maybe the enemy, if you don't do them, maybe the enemies will get stronger. So it's like more of a objective based instead of just, rushing at the enemies and killing them. In addition to the one in Drawback for Tomb of the Ancients, there's also a new one in Vertruse, which is also just going to be really, really cool. And you'll see why these tombs are a little bit more interesting here in a few minutes. You can take part in the Rose Day tournament. this is like the kind of like football game, or I guess more rugby. Um, the rules have changed. There's now two different balls at the same time, so it's going to be twice as chaotic for sure. But it's going to lead it to like more scoring. If you watched my videos, even ones that I did like on my own, even if I tried on like the easiest difficulty, you only ever like see like, I think the most amount of points I've ever seen in a game scored is 3 points. So now that there's two different ones, I feel like there's going to be a point like almost every turn or every round, I should say. So I feel like anywhere from like 5 to 8 points are going to be like very, very common. And then after you complete the first one in Grid Mirror, you will be invited to participate in the tournament with some trials to do. Each region has its field, its team, and a way of cheating the rules. So I don't know exactly what the trials are going to be. Maybe just like certain goals, like this person needs to score, or don't let them score a point, or score 3 points, or whatever it might be. Not too sure exactly what that entails, but it just kind of adds more variety to it. So I think that can only benefit it, because otherwise you figure out one tactic to do. That's kind of what I did. Like I said, I only scored a couple points because I was able to figure out how to like take up like 3 turns to score a point easily, and then just like be able to like kick the ball around and make sure that they couldn't get a point after that. So it wasn't like the most fun or interesting way to do it, but it like ensured that I won every time. If after winning against each team you're still not satisfied, you can try your luck with a difficult mode. So same thing with the arena. Maybe you lose your percentages on your tackling, or they gain percentages, or they have better range, or whatever it might be, mobility, whatever. But so again, it just like adds more to it and makes it more interesting. And then we have professions. So rebalance the way you gain experience in professions. It now takes less time to reach the last level. The more dangerous or costly your profession-related action is, the more experience points it generates, which is huge because it takes forever sometimes to level up for certain professions. Like, just, it's crazy. Some of the trade bonuses have also been revisited. New recipes have been added for each profession. And then now we have 10 professions here. So, obviously, we have the woodcutter. So, previously, if you had an axeman, that's all you needed was to cut wood. But now anybody can do it. So it's good and it's bad. Now it's good because if you don't have an axeman, you can still cut wood, which some of the starting choices you don't get an axeman, so you were just kind of like out of luck until you found one. So you can have that. It's bad because now you need another person in order to have everything filled. And of course it's got its own attributes and bonuses and backpack accessories and so on and so forth. So I think it's good for the game. It just means that you have to carry a larger party, which I don't think most people are against. I see people who try to run with like 60 people. Like I've seen screenshots of people like, every time they have to pay their troops, it was like 3,000 gold or something. I have no idea how you are able to financially keep that up. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but a one-time cost of 3,000 would bankrupt any playthrough, I feel like. Props to those people. But now your party's got to be a little bit bigger, which I think is fine. You have the Alchemist too. The whole idea is fighting rats in caves to get as many different items as possible to improve your strategy. But now it's a little bit easier. They felt it was a little bit too complex, and it was like kind of random, and I agree. I think that for a lot of the very entry-level stuff, you would have to go clear out rat nests, and a lot of the resources you needed were like mid to late game resources that you just physically could not find in the first couple areas. So changing that to make it so a lot of the oils are easier to make at the start of the game really, really helps. The oil recipes are now bought with crowns instead of using the brains from because you can only get one brain at each infestation. So those brains are now used to craft certain items instead, which I'm guessing are going to be like not a one-time or X amount of time use thing. It's going to be just like you build this and it's like an attachment or something like that you have forever. So I think that that's the proper way to do it. The majority of oils have been rebalanced, the effects are less random, and crafting is now a long-term investment, which is something that I personally I never used the oils or anything because I was like, I get to use this for 4 attacks or something like that, and it's a 5% chance that it poisons them or whatever it was, and it would cost like 3 flowers, 4 charcoal, and a brain. And I'm like, no, it's just a waste of time. So I just wouldn't mess with it. But now that that has changed, I think that this is going to be a huge aspect of it. And again, another thing to make your early game lineup a lot stronger and able to deal with a lot of stuff. The order in which you learn the recipes has also been revisited, which I'm guessing that means just simply that certain things that you were able to learn early on are going to be later, and some of the later game stuff are going to be earlier. So I think a lot of the early game stuff is going to be stuff to deal with, apply your weapons to have sharpness, or maybe poison, maybe some fire, stuff like that. Crits or bleeding or whatever it is going to be a lot of the early game stuff, and then as you progress, it's going to be like higher amounts of it. So like you apply 1 bleeding at a 10%, but then the next level is 2 bleeding at 20%. Those are just numbers I made up, but something along those lines. And then new recipes overall have been added. I could go on for an hour speculating what they could be. No idea. It's just new stuff added. Blacksmith, just basically a whole new tier has been added. Weapons, armor, and then new recipes. So I don't know if that is, I'm guessing it's going to be this is tier 4. I don't see why they would add something before the first level or before any of the other levels, because I feel like the progression of it was pretty good. Like tier 1 to 2 to 3, like what they had in the game prior, I feel like all of them scaled decently well. But now that everybody's being able to level up higher, I think it makes sense to add another tier afterwards. So that is going to be my guess, is that it's a tier 4. This is something that the scholars, what I was talking about in the whole aspect of why the tombs are going to be, like, it's better that we have more of them. So the tombs have been slightly designed. So when you obtain a codex, you must first decipher its runes by playing a brand new activity. Once you have obtained the runes that you gather in the tombs, you will get a complete text that will serve as a clue. Collect all the clues from a group to find the location of a secret vault. Inside, you will find a treasure or more. So, and there's lots of new secrets have been hidden throughout the world. So I think that means that when you are using your scholar to decipher stuff, I think that means that you're going to have more things to decipher. So that's good, because when you like complete the first tomb, you have stuff that you have to decipher for a while. Like you have to, it takes multiple rests to do and stuff like that. Now that rests, you can get it so they don't happen as often anymore. Like maybe it's better. I haven't tested it before, but you would have it where like in game for like 2 weeks you would just like be overloaded with stuff to decipher and use with the scholar. But then after that you have like 3 weeks of not doing anything. So I think these secrets, if they're working how I think that they are, and there's going to be more things to decipher, it means that role or class or perk or attribute, whatever you prefer to call it, your profession, we'll say, it is going to make it so that way you are constantly going to have something to work on instead of just like randomly. Excuse me, I'm like really nasally for some reason too. The graphics have been improved, which is nice, because I've noticed that I'm hoping that this is going to increase that. Like a really good example is in Gothenburg, my frames would just drop, everything would look really, really crappy because of the rain. So I'm hoping that this fixed it a little bit. The overall look of the game has been greatly improved and optimized, so I'm hoping this optimized is what I'm talking about. Backpacks are now evolving with gear, so the better gear you have, the better it'll look, which is nice, instead of having the straw backpack with the hay attached to it and a couple twigs for everybody. So hopefully it'll look a little bit nicer with it. New options for customization, so new faces, new beards, I'm guessing new hairstyles, maybe some colors, stuff like that at the beginning. When you start the game, the character's customization has been revamped to make it clearer. Not too sure exactly what that means, but I feel like that can only be a benefit. In addition to the brand new Elzar biome, new battle and camp maps have been added. Rest and fight in Gadorian Fields and Vertrusian Vineyards. So I think that it just means like when you pull up your camp right here, it's gonna look different. Like as you can see, it's kind of, you know, switching around to a few different ones. I think that this is with the better graphics and as well as like different areas are going to make it look a little bit nicer. So there's like, oh, I guess I can see it right down here too. This can't be your camp though. I don't think so. But just like there might be snow, there might be rain, mud puddles, stuff like that. Visual effects have received some love, so that's also going to be nice. And then the wolf models have been updated, which should be pretty cool. So then there's some balancing. The amount of experience points required to level up to the highest levels has been reduced. Some items have the rarity changed. There's new items. You can now loot more leather and fangs from animals, which is very nice finally. Civilians now have correct attributes. Mint has been removed from the game and hemp has been added. So I have no idea what mint was used for, even in the slightest. I tried to like find in the game. I didn't look online. I tried to find in the game on my own to figure out what the hell it was used for. I could never figure it out. So removing that I think is fine. Then we go to the difficulty balancing. The novice and advanced difficulties are as they are intended to be. However, they still think it's possible to increase the difficulty of expert, so they made some stuff more difficult, I believe, is how that is. One of the features requested was the ability to ignore which enemy is going to play during an enemy's turn. You can now hide or show enemy's turn order in the options menu. This means that you will know that the enemy is going to play, but you don't know who's going to go, which that makes it more difficult. I don't know if I'm going to play with that. I think it's a good aspect for people who like want to play like as difficult as possible, but I like to judge a lot of my like first turns at the very least on like who's going to move first. So I just like to have that, but that's just me. It's the first step in making the game more challenging for people who want more of a challenge. We do not want to alter the game experience for new players, but we also want to give more challenge to veteran players. And also want to give some love to the hardest difficulties. So I think that that's fair. It doesn't force you to play with that aspect, but it gives you the option to, which is what I think. I don't think that you can go wrong with that. I think that's only a benefit. You will encounter less mosquitoes in Harag, and then Forsaken Villages have been balanced in accordance with each difficulty. And then you just have like some skills, like changing the damage of like some daggers and a hammer here. And then just a couple like bug fixes and stuff like that. Excuse me, man, I'm really nasally. But that's kind of it for the kind of that's all, guys. No, there's a lot about this patch so far already, and a lot of stuff to try out. So again, the info of this is going to be down below. With this though, too, I wanted to state that I think a lot of stuff has changed, and there's a lot of new things and stuff like that, and I think on the playthrough that I have right now, I'm not able to fully utilize and take advantage of some of that stuff. So I'm going to be having a season 2 per se. I'm going to be starting a new playthrough and trying to explore some of these newer things and see how a lot of this stuff goes. Because at the point that I'm at right now, I'm multiple months in the game. I feel like it's just a little bit too far in order to experience some of this stuff. Because a lot of this stuff has been focused on quote-unquote new players, which means and a lot of like beginning stuff, right? So I feel like a lot of it is stuff that I'm going to miss out on because it's stuff that's supposed to happen early. So I'm going to be starting a new one. I might have a video out this Friday for it. If not, at the very latest, it's going to be Monday, and we'll have that going. And then so the season 2 is going to be the primary focus of the channel. I might go back and forth here and there a little bit to the first season and run some more of that and see how it goes, but I think it's primarily going to be this new playthrough. But with that, I think that's kind of all that I have, guys. I think there's a lot of really cool things right here that are going to be going through, and hopefully we get to see that pretty soon on the channel here with my playthrough. But let me know what you guys think is the best part of the update. I think one of the coolest things is adding a whole new profession. And then the like snow creatures, I think, is going to be like some of the cooler stuff to see. So just let me know what you guys think down below. It's going to be the coolest stuff for you. And then, as always, I appreciate you guys for watching, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.